Hi guys. So I just thought I'd share this sweet little testimony that happened a few years ago. This gentleman's birthday just passed, so he's been on my mind and I miss him so much, but this is just an awesome story and I have to share it. So I started taking care of this gentleman back in 2004 in his home, and a couple years went by and he just couldn't stay at home anymore, and we didn't want to put him in the nursing home. So I talked to my husband about moving him in here, and he agreed to it, and that's kind of where God sowed that seed into me about thinking of opening up an assisted living. So it was this gentleman that got me thinking about it, and so back in 2009, about 3 weeks before this gentleman passed, he told me he was going to pass away. And I sat down by him on the couch and I just kind of, cried a little bit and just said, how do you know? And he says, you just know. And I said, you can't leave me. And he goes, I'll be okay and you'll be okay and I'll check in on you from time to time. But it's time for me to go. And of course I cried. The only other person that was close to me that passed away before this gentleman was my cousin. And we were just, me and this Charlie were just glued to the hip for, 5+ years. We spent every waking moment together. And then you guys, I laid down for a nap. I got him all comfortable on the couch and he fell asleep. So I thought, I'm going to take a little nap on the floor. And so I got my pillow and blanket and laid down on the floor. And in my sleep, you guys, I felt somebody take this blanket and cover me up to the shoulders and kind of rub my back. I didn't wake up, so, I don't know if I was paralyzed or just, I don't know, but I know this happened. It was so real, but I didn't wake up from it. But when I woke up, I remembered it. And then the hospice nurse came in like an hour or two later, and she said she had stopped by and we were sleeping, so she was just going to go take care of somebody else and come back. And I said, did you cover me up with a blanket? And she said, no. She said it was probably Charlie. He's going in between, worlds, and I don't know what to think about that. I just think once we pass away, we go to heaven. But it was just kind of a crazy thing that happened, and it was just a warm, soft rub on my back. So like a week before he passed away, he was still walking a little bit, and he came out of his room and he said, Chanda, did you get my ticket? And I just knew that I wasn't gonna get into deep conversation with him about it. Him and his son would take vacations to North Carolina, where they're originally from, like twice a year. And so I didn't really know if he was talking about, going home to North Carolina or what he was talking about. And I just didn't want to go there. And I just said, no, not yet, Charlie. And he said, you have to get my ticket. I'm leaving at 3:30. And I said, okay, Charlie, I'll work on it. And you guys, this man had Alzheimer's so bad that he couldn't remember what happened even, 2 minutes ago. And he'd just constantly repeat himself. And then the next day, he said it again. He said, Chanda, did you get my ticket? And I said, no, Charlie, I haven't got it yet. He goes, you really got to get my ticket. I'm leaving at 3:30, and you just have to get it. And I was like, okay, Charlie, I'll get it. And then a couple days went by, and he just started slipping away really fast, and he couldn't speak at this time. So we put him into bed and got him all comfortable and got ready for him to go home to the Lord. And he always used to say, I bet you don't love me as much as I love you. And I would just like, no, I love you more, and just stuff like that. But he would say it to me all the time, and I never said that back to him. So I was looking at him in the eyes, and he was looking at me, and something just told me to say that to him, and I just said, I bet you don't love me as much as I love you. And his eyes got really big, and a tear went down his eyes, and of course I bawled. I mean, I just loved him like he was my own grandpa. So then finally like the day before he passed away, he kind of went into this coma stage and wouldn't wake up. And that night I had slept with him. I wanted to be with him, and I didn't want him to pass alone. And then his son came the next day, and he spent the night. And we went to bed, and about 4 o'clock in the morning, his son came and knocked on our door and said, Daddy just passed away. And he was teary-eyed, and then I just like, he knew exactly when he was going to pass away. He told me 3:30. And Charlie was the kind of guy that needed to be the center of attention. Anywhere we went, he had to be kind of late. Everybody had to be there. So when he walked in the door, everybody was like, Charlie. He was just this bubbly person that just had this just wonderful personality and just loved everybody. But I mean, I'd have to set clocks forward so we would be on time a lot of the times, just because, that's just the way he was. So yeah, he passed about 3:30 when he said he was going to, and his son was dreaming at this time, and he said he was dreaming that him and his dad were driving in the country, and he looked over his dad, and his dad had passed away in the passenger seat. And that woke him up, and then he checked on his dad, and his dad was gone. I know it was about this time because his body was still warm. Usually about 45 minutes to an hour after somebody passes, their bodies start getting cold and stiff, and so you just kind of know the timing of when people pass away. So I just thought I would share that really sweet story. And then, you guys, I didn't mourn. It was so difficult for me to mourn him, so I just kept on putting it off and putting it off. And then I was going to have visitors coming about 3 weeks later, so I was going to give up my bedroom. So I went in the master closet to just clean it out a little bit and make room for them to put their clothes up on the rack. And you guys, my clothes were just so jam-packed together. And I was sitting on the floor just sorting things. And this jacket that he bought me a couple years prior, it was a North Carolina jacket, just fell on my lap. I mean, I don't know how it could have, because like I said, it was all jam-packed. And I didn't think anything of it. And then, you guys, like 30 seconds later, this cane that he had used before, I put it in my closet, and I kind of put it in the back of my closet, leaning up against the wall. And this cane fell right in my lap. And I just lost it. I just lost it. I was just shocked, and I just felt like he was just saying thank you, and yeah, you have to mourn me because, that's just the way he was, okay, mourn me now and move on. So yeah, I sat in my closet for a little bit and cried, and then we used to listen to Brother Art Thou, I think was the CD. His favorite song was You Are My Sunshine. And I put the CD in, and I climbed in my bathtub, and I just laid there and cried and listened to the whole CD, and then it was like my morning was over. I could move on with my life, and I think about him from time to time, especially when his birthday comes, and he was just truly an amazing man. And then, you guys, I just wanted to share this real quick. My grandma loved roses, and she passed away a couple years too. And exactly a year later after her passing, me and my husband were going to the lake. And so I decided to stop at the grocery store and pick up some roses just to do a little memorial of her. So when we got out to the lake, my husband had gotten out just to check the ground to make sure it was level where we could put our camper. And so I just thought I'm going to take a minute and talk to my grandma. And I was just like, I love you, Grandma, and I miss you. And anytime this weekend you can just show me a sign that you're with me. Sorry, guys, my dogs are just going crazy out there. They're playing. So I was just sitting there, and I wasn't thinking, that she was going to show me a sign right away. So I got done talking to her, and then I looked up, you guys. There was not a cloud in the sky except for this one that was right above my truck, and it was perfectly shaped like a rose. I mean, you could see the thorns, you could see the leaves, you could see the rose petals. So I hurried up and I rolled on my window, and I told my husband, look, look. And he about just fainted right there. So my grandma she didn't wait any time. I just feel like she was just showing me that she was okay, and that, just to enjoy my weekend. So I just thought that was two little sweet stories that I would share with you guys. But yeah, my dogs are going crazy, so I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. God bless.